Hello everybody who's back to my channel for another video today. You guys can hear my voice. I've had a long week, I'm sick. I came back from traveling. I am back for another video though because I missed creating and I just felt so in tune with my creative juices. You know, I just had my creative juices flowing when I was like spending a lot of time not doing anything because I was trying to recover and jet lag and all that stuff. So I'm back today to talk about how to be a magnet to the things that you want in your life, because I was thinking about a lot of the goals that I had prior to my self-development journey and just like evolving into the woman that I've always wanted to be, what kind of goals did I have, but most of all, how was I able to be a match to the things that I wanted in my life and really arrive at that place that everybody else is looking to get to. Now, am I saying that I'm fully there? No, I'm not. I think that constantly having some sort of improvement going on is always a good thing too. Not that you're striving obsessively, but that you're taking time, you have goals, you're not stressed about how you're gonna get to that goal, you fully have faith in yourself, in your ability to reach those goals. I think it's one of two things that people have trouble with when it comes to attracting what they want in their lives. So one is their environment. That's their biggest thing. When your environment reaffirms who you are on a day-to-day basis, it's very hard to step out of that, because what happens when somebody says, you know what, no more, I'm gonna change my life, I'm gonna be a different person, I'm gonna be a different girl, I'm gonna have different habits, and everybody is just gonna have to deal with it. What you'll see though, if you observe in other people who are on a transformation of change, is other people are always trying to pull you back down to the same familiar you that they've always known. Because if you step outside of this box, they feel abandoned because they were in that box with you. In a way, they feel defeated, they feel betrayed, and so they start to say little things like, I miss the old you, or whatever happened to when we used to do this. And if any of what those people engage in doesn't speak to the new version of you, it's not really going to appeal to you, and you're gonna feel very out of place. Like, you're just gonna feel very stuck and you're gonna be like, what do I do? And then what happens a lot of the times is people conform to what others are telling about them. They're like, oh, maybe I'm changing too much, maybe I should just revert back to some old ways. And then that's when the pattern starts to repeat itself, and then the cycle is never ending. So first of all, how do you break out of this cycle? And second, how do you become a match to things that you want and stay consistent in terms of vibrations? How do you keep sending out the same signals of what it is that you want? That's what I wanted to touch on today, because I have been struggling with this lately as well, where I've kind of been reverting back to some old ways of thinking and little beliefs that have just been creeping up on me, and I just really want to lock in. I just feel like it's that lock-in season. Everybody's talking about the winter arc right now, and I'm here for it, because winter is a beautiful time for transformation. Since it's so cold outside, you're not really doing many things outside like you would do in summer. You're more so just very focused on what it is that you have to do, and you're tending to your emotional needs most of all. Because when I'm in wintertime, I'm most aware of my emotions, I will say, just because like in summer I want to go out and I want to have fun and I want to express and I want to do all that stuff. Not that you can't do those things in the winter, but in the winter, you definitely have more of that time to come back to your inner being and really listen to what your body is telling you. So number one, have a goal but remain detached. This is just a simple law of nature. When you are chasing something, what does that mean? It means that something is running away from you. And this can be applied to a lot of different aspects, but mostly I think I see it in financial things. When you want to attract a large sum of money, or just a consistent flow of income in general, and relationships. Those two things, or those aspects of life, the desperation really grows for some people, because first of all, and I don't think that it's wrong, I think it's natural, just because connection obviously is a biological imperative. You need to connect with people. People want to fall in love if that's what you want. And then money, obviously it offers security, it offers an abundance of so many beautiful things. Money is a very good tool to be used. That's the reason that it's so hard to not be desperate for those things and pull back and allow those things to come to you. But that is the only way that those things will ever arrive to you. If you can have a goal in mind and remain detached from it, it means that you are far likely to achieve it. Why? Because you are not obsessing over how it's going to happen. Never, ever, ever, and this is the biggest thing when it comes to like getting what you want, is never stress about how something's going to happen. Put all of your attention and all your focus and energy into the what. It's just gonna happen for you because you have that faith, you know, and you fully believe that, but you're only focused on a specific goal. You write out exactly what it is that you want, but you're not concerned with how it's going to happen. When you're concerned with how something is going to play out, you're also obsessing over an outcome. You're trying to change something that is not in your hands, my love. You don't have the everything in the world on puppet strings and you're not able to control things, and that's where I think a lot of people get it wrong, and that's where I've gotten it wrong in the past too, is like trying to control a particular outcome for no apparent reason. Like, because what you're doing is going into hyper independence mode and you're trying to achieve all these goals by yourself, completely by yourself, and you think that nothing else is ever going to be able to help you. The universe is here to assist you, or God is here to help you. You need to have some sort of faith in something that's willing to have your back when it comes to achieving your goals, at least in my opinion. So just understand this very nature. If you are chasing after something, it also means that it's running away from you. You cannot think two things cannot chase each other. You know, then that wouldn't be a chase. Get rid of the desperate energy. It is the most repulsive energy. I know sometimes it's very, very hard to, it's easier said than done sometimes for certain aspects. You really want something, you've been desiring something for a really long time. It's very hard to jump out of that. But desperate energy is a no-go all the time. It doesn't matter what aspect of life you're looking at. That type of energy is repulsing to just about anybody, even if people don't want to admit it. We can read energy. We're energetic beings. You know, we were born with this ability to sense energy very quickly and very accurately most of the time too. Number two, you have to be willing to let go of the old so the new can come in. I know that it's something that you don't want to hear, but truthfully, and I'm being completely transparent, I just don't think that anything else in this video is going to be useful to you if you don't know how to do this one thing, which is to let go. I feel that letting go actually takes quite a lot of discipline, which I don't think that people talk about enough. You have to practice being able to let go of things that are most familiar to you, and especially because we're constantly building new connections and attachments to things and people and places and experiences in life, it's even harder to do. It just becomes harder as you grow older. But practicing it is one of the most beautiful skills, just because you will always have a bright future ahead of you if you are willing to do that for yourself, which is to let go of things that do not serve you anymore. It is so important to do this. I remember a time when I was trying so hard to change my life, but everything in my life looked the exact same. Why? Because I was so unwilling to let go of everything that I'd ever known. I didn't want anything to change until I eventually just got sick of it. That's the thing. Even if you so desperately want things to stay the same, it will never stay the same. Change is inevitable. That's something that you have to learn to accept early on. It's better if you accept it earlier on because you will suffer less. You know, you don't have to suffer as much as you are suffering right now, because that is a choice that you're making by staying in the same conditions. So there's two things you can do. Either you can wait out your unhappy circumstances that you don't even like, or you can actually actively put into place what it is that you want to change. But either way, things have to change, so you might as well just get yourself used to it. Embrace change, which is my next point. Learn to embrace change, because just like everything else in life, if you want something, you're gonna have to start to do things a little bit differently, or else you won't ever have a different outcome. This is the best thing I ever did for myself, and it was convince myself that I love to change, because I really embrace change with open arms, even if it's super, super uncomfortable, but it's allowed me to live the life that I live now and have the mindset that I have now. I don't care if you don't believe it. I don't care if you know you're like, I'm not the type of person who likes change, blah, blah, blah. Convince yourself that you love change, and you will see how effortlessly you can transition through that change. My biggest thing with this as well is like, I always want to handle it with grace. I used to, when things changed, I used to handle it in such an aggressive manner, and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. Not only because I feel that it also takes me away from my femininity, it takes me out of my femininity, it just makes me like this angry person, and for no reason at all, when I could just handle it with a lot more grace and a lot more class. Now, am I saying it's an easy thing to do? No. It takes so much practice, so much hard work, so much discipline, but it is so worth it in the end, and every single time I've never regretted handling something with grace instead of just being angry and trying to express myself, when in reality it's not expression. You know, anger is a very healthy emotion for the fact that it allows you to look at things differently, because it's charged so powerfully. Anger is one of those emotions that is so strong that almost as if, like, if you were to sit next to somebody who's feeling a lot of anger, you could almost immediately feel the intensity that they're feeling, because it's on such a high level of whatever it is. I don't even know what it is, okay? It's very powerful. It's a very powerful emotion. But just like anger, what else is powerful? Gratitude. Hope you guys are drinking your water today, by the way. Make gratitude part of your identity. Here's the thing about gratitude that I learned a long time ago that was just a game changer and made me never want to stop being grateful for anything, which is that if you feel gratitude, I'm not sure if this is true, it's a study I read a while ago, you can choose to believe it. I chose to believe it because I'm like, it benefits me. If you feel gratitude or the emotions of gratitude, you cannot feel anything else simultaneously. And that means that it is such a powerful force, okay? So think about what that means for a second. It means that it's such a powerful emotion that it completely encapsulates your entire body. Is that the right word to use? I don't know, but it just immerses your body into an experience of so much love and euphoria, and it's natural. It is a natural emotion. You didn't have to use anything to get to that point. You didn't have to like even meditate. You really didn't even have to meditate to get to that point. You just feel grateful. You say you're grateful for something or you write something down and immediately your body just feels a lot lighter. I practice gratitude almost every single day. I try to write at least 5 things down. It sounds silly, it sounds corny, it sounds gimmicky, but it works. It allowed me to appreciate other people in my life so much more too, and not take for granted all of the things that they are able to do for me, and not even take for granted myself and my body. And being sick was a perfect example of that. I was sick for like a week. I've been sick for like a week now or something since I came back from my travels. And what it did was allow for me to deeply reflect on my inner body, which I hadn't had time to do. The thing about doing this as a career is such a beautiful thing, but once you get to the point where you're spreading the knowledge to other people, you barely feel like you have the time. And even thinking about the ways that I'm going to branch out, like when I start a podcast, or when I don't know, start doing seminars or online coaching or one-to-one coaching or whatever it is, like I'm not gonna have as much time to really sit with myself. And then it becomes me being reliant on my external environment in order to make me feel fulfilled. So that means that people would have to, like I see your guys' DMs and your comments all the time. You guys would have to keep feeding me that in order for me to feel fulfilled in some way, and I didn't like that idea even. It makes you get to a point where you're not actually practicing what you're preaching. And it happens a lot with self-development YouTubers where they could get so consumed by the craft itself that they forget why they fell in love with it in the first place. And it's because I fell in love with the feeling. Because I fell in love with the feeling, I fell in love with the way that it made me transform into a completely different person and become closer to myself, and as a result become closer to other people. And I wanted other people to have that experience too. I was like, you can change your life. You can live in a different reality if that's what you want. And if you're unhappy with your circumstances, that was the point of all of this to begin with. And that's why after having those days of doing absolutely nothing and not even reading, I missed meditations left, right, and center, just tending to my body and allowing my body to rest. No matter how hard I tried to, go and try and do something, my body was always like, you need to rest. And when I did, I was so grateful to do that because it allowed me to really revisit the thoughts in my mind and the emotions that were sitting inside me that I wasn't letting out of me. When you're sick, you feel so grateful to just be able to like breathe, because when your nose is stuffy or your throat hurts or something, you don't feel the same, and you're like, oh, I took advantage of being able to breathe. So it's little things like that. Making gratitude part of your identity, being a grateful person, is never something that you're ever going to regret doing. It's one of the things that I honestly feel like is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself, just because you will inevitably always attract good things to your life. Because what you're saying is, I love my life so much right now, but I want to add a couple things, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to add more to my life and be this abundant and very lucky person. Convincing yourself of that rather than complaining about your circumstances, feeling like life is unfair, that something's out to get you, or like evil eye. Don't even get me started with that. I don't believe in that, and that's actually another one of my points that I had written down here, because I feel like it's going around so much, and I get it. Like, I'm from a South Asian household. I've grown up with that notion too, but I've chosen in my mind to not make that an agreement. I was like, I do not want to believe that because it's just not part of my reality, which is to stop blaming others for not having the things that you want, or stop blaming out external factors for not having the things that you want. The reason that I don't believe in evil eye is because I think that it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's just in a way not beneficial to you or to anybody else. I just don't see the point of it. It's irrelevant. Like, whether or not you believe in it is kind of irrelevant. I don't care how other people are looking at me, even if they are looking at me in some sort of envious light or whatever. Like, I just don't care. I don't want to care for it, and I don't want to put that in my mind. And for me, because I think that envy and jealousy are actually, there's so much value in it, because if you're in some way jealous of somebody, then you're like, okay, but that also means that they have something that I desire. So that makes you create another goal for yourself, which helps you move towards something else. So I always talk about accountability being something that allows you to really prosper, because you are fully in control of your life that way. Like if you mess up and then you can say, I messed up, that's a very beautiful thing actually. And it's also just makes you that much of a powerful person to be like, wow, you really just took accountability for everything. If somebody points out a flaw, just be like, yeah, okay, that is me. What about it? You know? When you finally take that accountability for your life and for who you are, you're finally being able to say, you know what? I love myself so much that let me actually actively try to change my life. Let me actually try to do something and not blame my external environment, but just change for me, and just change because I know that it's the best thing that I can do for myself, and because I want a good life. It can be as simple as that, because I want a good life. I want a healthy, happy life, and I don't want anybody else to be responsible for that. I want to be fully responsible for my life and for my actions. The next point I want to make is dive deeper into the things that are related to what you want. So the reason that this works, at least for me it did, because I was thinking about it and I was like, what did I do to be a match to the things that I wanted in my life? And this is actually one thing that I practiced a lot, which was if I wanted to learn about something, whether that was fitness or meditation, I would always immerse myself into topics that were related to those categories. And the reason that this works so well and it is so effective is because it allows your mind, or it forces your mind to think in new ways that you're not used to. I talked about this before. One of the most beautiful concepts in meditation that I've ever learned that taught me so much, still teaches me so much to this day, is beginner's mind. The first time that you sit down to meditate, you feel usually very light, and you feel very curious about it. And the curiosity is the biggest thing, because you're interested to see how it'll unfold. You're not pre-anticipating how it'll go. But if you're an experienced meditator, what happens is, over the years, I've been meditating for about 4 years, almost 5 years now. And what happens is, over time, you're like, I wonder if this is going to be a better meditation. I wonder if it's going to be like yesterday's meditation where I was super anxious and I wasn't able to control myself. And what you're doing is you're immersed in thought. And the point of meditation is to allow for everything to be as it is, but also be able to, some extent, quiet the mind, find some quiet within the mind. That's why people say, you know, anything that you do in your life, take that stance of a beginner's mind. Have the student attitude where you're kind of curious to learn about something. And that's what happens when you try to branch out in the things that you love and you're thinking about all the topics that are related to what you want in your life. What you're doing is downloading new information into your mind, and as a result, you're making that your new reality. You see what I mean? And that's kind of my next point about vision boards being so effective too. I always talk about vision boards. You guys know this. Vision boards are my thing, okay? I make about 2 or 3 digital ones, and then I make about 2 like visual ones that are actually up on my wall. I have one over here with vision boards, and I kind of touched on this very briefly, but I always talked about it through and through my channel, that vision boards are very effective because you are in some way, even if you don't realize it, and even if you're not conscious of it, you are still looking at those images all day and you're interpreting it as your own reality. And the reason that it's been so effective for me is because I always looked at it and I was always like, at some point I was like, this doesn't really look like that crazy anymore. First of all, let's just talk about the fact that I think that we all think too small. It's time to start thinking bigger in 2025, because I was looking at my 2024 vision board and I was thinking way too small. So 2025 is going to be bigger goals, okay? But I just got used to the images so much, and then so many of the images came to life that it was just like pictures up on my wall of my own life. It was kind of scary, if anything, but it's beautiful. That's how it works, because you're seeing it every day. You're also being constantly reminded of your goals on a day-to-day basis, and it allows you to work toward them better. It's not effective for everybody. Some people, they don't agree with that, but for me, vision boards are always super successful. I will say, be very specific, just like with any other goal, but especially with vision boards, sometimes people can get very vague. So what I do is I print out little labels and then I write the specific goal down so that I know the goal that I'm working on with the image that is attached to it. So it's not like a vague thing. Like if I put a picture of like a girl being on vacation, where is it that I'm looking to go, you know, that I'm looking to fly out to? So I think definitely be more specific in your vision board goals, because it makes all the difference. 2025 is just around the corner, so make your vision board. I would say in December, make it in December for January, because then you'll have those goals ready to look at when January unfolds. So an opportunity comes to you that has something to do with your goal. Now what do? You have to seize the opportunity. This is the thing. If you manifest something, sometimes it won't come to you directly in a way that you think. What happens to a lot of people is the new year comes and they're so excited, they have a goal, they set the goal, they really have faith in the fact that this opportunity will come their way, and then all of a sudden the opportunity comes, which is great. But then what happens is they don't take the opportunity because they fall back into old patterns of thinking or old little habits that creep in, and then they end up missing the opportunity. So when an opportunity comes your way, you have to seize it. It doesn't matter what sort of opportunity it is, take it. If it has something to do with whatever it is that you want to attract in your life, that's the way that you become a magnet to what you want. You have to be willing to be open to it. If it comes to you and you miss out on it because you weren't willing to really go all in that moment, then that is on you. Every single second of the day, the opportunities come right in our faces and we miss it because we're not able to acknowledge that this is actually a blessing that we're missing out on. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Let me know what you guys thought of it. But also I just want to make a side note and say that I'm active on my socials again. It's all linked in my bio if you guys are interested in seeing kind of the BTS of certain things. I kind of want to just take you guys through my day, and I'm trying really my best to be active on there, but I'm getting used to being active on there again. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. I love you so much.